Hey, what's up, everybody? You know, Sasuke419's, I watched your video that I'm responding to here with, and, you know, you do bring up a few good points. But it's like I've said in my previous video that I've also put as a response here. It's the fact that the reason a lot of people are upset, and as you mentioned in this video, it's because we're used to status quo. Well, it's not just used to status quo. You know, I know from experience I can accept things differently. You know, I'm one of those people that I'm not going to stop reading the comics. I'm just going to not open my subscriptions, my issues that I've subscribed to, until it's all said and done. Like I said, the reason for that is so I can do a huge overall review on what my thoughts are, and maybe if I do a rant or a shoot on how I feel about the whole thing. But again, it goes back to what I said in my previous video, man. It's more or less the fact that we as longtime fans, and I know you're one, we're just used to seeing her the way she is, like we saw in the cartoon, the way we saw her in the earlier issues. We're just used to it. This is just a little hard for us to look at, you know. And you know, for me though, the way I look at it, and this is just advice for anybody, and I mentioned it in my other video, I have what's known as a Deviant account, an account over at the DA site, and what I do when I see a picture of the Mecha Sally or Metal Sally, whatever you want to call her, metal would be more of the fact that you'd be seeing Metal to me is basically an Eggman version that he made, not roboticized. So, again, you know, anytime I see a picture like that, what I do, because I'm subscribed, because I watch a bunch of artists, I will click the close button, the X button on there, so I don't see it. So that way, it'll be like, I didn't see nothing. I'll be like, oh, I didn't see nothing. I didn't see anything. And then what I do is I look for a picture of Sally the way she was, and it just pops out of my mind of the mecha look just pops out of my mind. The thing is, you know, like you said, everybody's used to status quo, but it's more or less the fact that we're used to seeing her the way she is. And I think, in a way, just my opinion, I think the reason some fans that like Sally and even the fans that don't like Sally are upset about how this whole thing came about is it not only made Sally, in some eyes, made Sally redeem herself, but it also made Sonic overall, the one that the comic's named after, look like an idiot. Made him look like a fool for what he did. You know, it made him realize, okay, wait a minute. It makes him like sit down and think for a second, like, wait a minute. I just reversed time to save Sally from being shot down, being blown away, if you will. And yet, I still lose her because she's roboticized. And it makes you think, and it makes him look kind of like an idiot or a fool, because it makes him ask the question, what happened here? You know, where did I go wrong? What did I do wrong, kind of deal? You know, that's why the fans that don't like Sally, and even the fans that do like Sally overall, one of the reasons, in my opinion, that they're not happy with what Ian Flynn has done. They're not. They're literally not happy with what he's done. You know, it's kind of like let's say Lois Lane, for example, got turned into a monster, some kind of evil demigoddess, if you will. Or let's say Lois Lane got shot, just like Sally. And the only way I have to cross the street here. Hold on. Sorry about that, Sasuke419 or anybody else watching. I had to cross the street, and of course school's out around here right now. School just got out, so you know how teenagers are, especially teenage boys. But anyway, like I said, you know, I just, like I said, I click off that, you know, I basically click it off, and I look, like I say, for a picture of her the way she was, and it's like, here, make a what? Make a who? But again, getting back to what I'm saying, overall it just made both of them look like idiots in the eyes of some. Yeah, in the eyes of some, it made Sally look like she redeemed herself, made her likable again, and that's possibly and that's true, I guess, in some ways. But to others, it just doesn't make sense. It just made, you know, Sonic overall look like an idiot, like a fool, and you know, they don't like this. And what worries them the most is Ian's always being so cryptic, like, oh, you know, will this happen or will that happen? It's not like he's not giving us a straight answer. It's not like he's saying, kind of asking the question of, will this happen in the next issue? You have to read it to see it. You know. And again, that's what's kind of upsetting a lot of fans. They don't like these little cryptic things Ian's doing. Now, I've agreed, potentially Ian's a good writer. And there's no doubt about that. But the thing is, as good as he is, he's not making everybody happy. You know, Paul Kaminsky, who's actually the editor-in-chief, Paul Kaminsky, who's actually following me on Twitter, has, you know, said they were going to do something to satisfy both fan bases. Well, guess what? That backfired, didn't it? That backfired, didn't it? And how did it backfire? You have both sides arguing once again. Both sides are not happy about it either way. Excuse me for a second again. I gotta go in the store here to do something. right, Mike. Yeah. Alright, I'm sorry about that. I may have to split this in two videos, hopefully not, but, you know, like I said, Sasuke419, it's, you know, like you've mentioned and I have mentioned, it's just what we're used to. You know, it's not the status quo, it's just on both sides of the fence, in my opinion. For those that like it for Sonic and the fact that, you know, they want it to be more game element-wise, I think, in my opinion, they're upset at the fact that not only do they feel Ian Flynn's doing a lot of cop-outs and taking the lazy way and all that out, it's more or less that with the implage of Genesis, he made Sonic look like an idiot. And if you're a true Sonic fan, especially because you got introduced through the games, you know, that doesn't make you happy. I mean, you make the hero look like a dumbbell, basically. And for fans of Sally, it's like, come on. You know, you just, basically to them, it's like, come on, you just made her go through hell, nearly getting, where she gets killed and everything. You know, she gets sort of revived during Genesis, and then gets saved, if you will, by Sonic, who reversed time. And now you do this. You make her do this, and you do this to her, and that, even though, and like I said, in the eyes of some, it made her redeem herself, made her more likable. If you're a long-time fan, it's not what you want to see. And then especially with the fact that, you know, he modifies her and weaponizes her and everything, gives her an overall new look. You know, that doesn't please fans either. But like you said, you know, pretty much she'll be returned to normal. I'm pretty sure of it. Maybe she'll have a new look, maybe a new outfit, as I'm pointing out. Maybe a new hairstyle, which I seriously doubt. I think it's just, it'll go back to normal, obviously. But I think if Ian's going to try to do his best, if he's really going to try to knock this out of the park, it's not going to be going into 250 and even at 250. It's going to be afterwards. I feel it. You know, I feel it's going to be afterwards. It's going to be the after effects, and, you know, let's say Sally does get restored, and I think she will, fully. Basically, fully, and I'm not just talking free will, but overall, I think, in honesty, and I've said this in many videos, maybe you've seen them, it's more or less the fact that she may not, if he's going to, like I said, hit this out of the park, it's going to be afterwards, with the after effects, and, you know, she'll either not trust herself anymore, because she won't know what kind of decisions she'll make. You know, maybe she'll go on missions, but then be held back and told to go back to wherever they're hiding out in, you know, just so that what happened before won't happen again. Or maybe she just won't go on missions anymore, like, you know, in the earlier days, you know. But what I'm saying is that I respect and agree with most of what you said, but it's more or less the fact that everybody just doesn't like seeing certain characters that way. You know, it's like if the people writing the Mickey Mouse comics at Boom Studios for Disney, one of the head writers said, hey, I'm going to turn Minnie into an evil sorceress after, you know, Mickey reverses time to save her from being hurt. Think fans would like that? Excuse me a second, I got to do this in two parts.